president of Delaware Folklife Project, and she is here to tell us about the research that the Delaware Folklife Project has done on Delaware ghosts. Kim, welcome back to Focus Delaware. Kim, for those that may not know by now, why don't we tell the viewers what the Delaware Folklife Project is all about?
Well, it's an all-volunteer organization which is statewide. It's composed of professional folklorists like myself, museum professionals, educators, folk artists and folk craftsmen, and interested lay people, and membership is open to the public. And we do a lot of programs that have to do with every different kind of level of traditional culture in Delaware, fishing and trapping traditions, ethnic traditions in Wilmington, and this year Delaware Ghosts.
Mm-hmm. Well, isn't it apropos that folklorists that you are do something on Delaware Ghosts? Now, you've done research on Delaware Ghosts, but how did you go about doing it? You can't just look it up in your local library.
No, well, the way that folklorists do research is called field work, and that's what it is. You go out into the field and you talk to people. And for the play Delaware Ghosts, we did the research by a variety of methods. I went to a lot of senior centers and historical societies and gave a lecture on ghost stories. And in turn, the people told me ghost stories, and I tape recorded those. Also, Bob Bethke at the University of Delaware is a folklorist, and he had several students at his beck and call. So for their student papers, they did field work and brought me back cassettes of the two of the men that you saw here tonight. Ira Lund and Alan Hunn were both found by student field workers. And then once we collected the ghost stories, we did a lot of historical research on them so that the details in the play are historically correct for Delaware. We did research at the Hall of Records and the Historical Society of Delaware, the University of Delaware Special Collections, and many other places like that. So you can't prove that there's a ghost, but you can say that during this time period, such and such a person existed, or such and such a building was in existence. It was really fun.
With the Delaware Humanities Forum as a funding agency, you've done research now on Delaware Ghosts that is being used as a teaching tool in our public school system.
That's right. We've done more and more with the schools, I think largely because the teachers were so fascinated with ghost stories as a teaching tool. I did 2 in-service courses for teachers, one at the Townsend Building in Dover for downstate teachers, and one at Mount Pleasant High School for upstate teachers. And I also went to several elementary schools and told ghost stories. But we're also devising a curriculum, a little booklet that has an interpretive essay, a bibliography, a glossary of terms that folklorists use, and a little bit of the historic background.
Kim, tell us about some of our Delaware ghost stories.
Okay, some of our ghost stories go back very far in history, and one ghost story that's known to almost every school child in Delaware is that of the ghost of Samuel Chew. He was a Revolutionary period Chief Justice in Dover. And after he died, he apparently was very discontent with his funeral service. He felt that people had been very disrespectful. They had shuffled their feet and sneezed and chewed tobacco, and he wasn't going to put up with it. So he came back and haunted the Dover Green.
Which we're looking at now?
That's right. Mm-hmm. And it was said that somebody saw the ghost of Samuel Chew in his judicial wig and his flowing cape, and nobody believed him. But then several other people also saw him. And soon the situation became so grave that the taverns began to lose business. And one of the variations of this tale is that a tavern keeper's wife was a very shrewd cookie, and so she came up with the idea of burying Samuel Chew again, giving him a very nice pomp and circumstantial type funeral so that his ghost would be at peace and business would come back to the taverns around the Dover Green. And it said that this was done and he caused no more trouble. And one of the other stories that's about the Dover Green is the story of the ghost of John M. Clayton, who appeared at the Ridgely House, which is on the Dover Green.
Here we see the Ridgely House.
That's right. That's an interior shot. This is a story that Bill Frank recorded in the News Journal several years ago. And Mrs. Ridgely was a very intellectual, very upstanding Dover citizen who went to bed one night and saw the ghost of Samuel Chu in her bedroom and screamed and called her husband, who was smoking in another room, and he came in and said, "Well, how do you know it was John M. Clayton?" And she said, "His picture's everywhere. I would certainly recognize John M. Clayton." And even though he's not a very frightening ghost, he's an interesting ghost because he was a very, very dignified person. And he is very much a part of Delaware history. He was particularly involved in things that had to do with the Civil War in Delaware. He was Patty Cannon's lawyer for her murder trial, and he also was involved in the decision between New Jersey and Delaware as to who would own Pea Patch Island, where Fort Delaware is. So he's interesting.
You have another ghost story for us.
And this one is a more modern ghost story that was collected by Judith French, who lives, I think, in Marydale. And that's the story of the cleaning ghost. And that was a story about a woman who had a very messy fireplace and had just determined that she was going to clean it. She went to bed, and the next day she woke up and her fireplace was spotless and sparkling. And so she figured a ghost must have done it, because certainly her children wouldn't. So the next time it needed to be cleaned, she said, "Why, ghost, aren't you going to clean this for me?" And lo and behold, the ghost took offense and threw ashes all over the house. And that's the story of the cleaning ghost.
Well, there are many more stories to be told, but unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you for coming on Focus Delaware, and we wish you all a happy Halloween, and hope you enjoyed our Focus Delaware show tonight. That's it for this week's show. Take care and enjoy.